Listen to me. I don't care where you came from, how hard it's been, or what's standing in front of you right now. Courage. That's the difference maker. That's the game changer. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of fear. You think successful people don't get scared? You think champions wake up every day feeling confident? No, they feel what you feel. The doubt, the pressure, the fear of failure, but they do it anyway. When I was homeless, when I was eating out of trash cans, I wasn't fearless. I was courageous. Courage made me get up at 3 a.m. Courage made me grind when nobody believed in me. You want your dream? Then be brave enough to chase it when no one else sees it but you. Courage means speaking life into yourself when nobody claps. It means showing up when quitting would be easier. And sometimes courage means standing alone because you know your purpose is worth more than people's approval. So today I dare you, be bold, be fearless, be courageous. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, because your future, your dream, your legacy is waiting on the other side of your courage. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we'll ever experience. It stops people before they even begin. Fear tells you that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. Fear whispers that if you try, you'll fail. That if you step out, you'll fall flat on your face. But here's the truth. Courage doesn't mean you're fearless. Courage doesn't mean the fear is gone. Courage is what kicks in when fear shows up. Courage is acting in spite of fear. You've been lied to if you think the greats, the legends, the entrepreneurs, the athletes, the gangsters had no fear. No, they had fear. Plenty of it. The difference is they didn't let that fear paralyze them. They didn't let that fear stop them from chasing what was in their hearts. You think Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't afraid when he stood in front of thousands, knowing his life was in danger? You think Rosa Parks wasn't afraid when she refused to give up her seat? You think Michael Jordan didn't feel fear when the whole world was watching him take that last shot? They were scared, but they moved anyway. The problem today is too many people are waiting for the fear to disappear before they start. They think, oh, when I feel ready, I'll launch the business. Or when I feel confident, I'll speak up. Or when I'm not scared anymore, I'll go after my dream. Let me break it down for you. That day may never come. You may never feel ready. You may never be 100% fearless. So what are you gonna do? Sit on the sideline of your own life waiting for perfect conditions? That's not how greatness works. You gotta move scared. You gotta move shaky. You gotta do it while your hands are trembling and your voice is cracking. That's real courage. Courage isn't loud all the time. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed when everything in your life feels heavy. Sometimes it's saying I'm not okay and asking for help. Sometimes it's trying again after you failed and got embarrassed the first time. That's courage. It's not glamorous. It's not always on stage. But it's what builds champions. It's what builds character. And it's what transforms dreams into reality. See, fear wants to keep you safe. That's what it was designed to do. But safe never made history. Safe never changed the world. Safe never got anyone to the top of the mountain. If you let fear win, you'll settle for average. You'll settle for a routine. You'll settle for a paycheck instead of your purpose. And deep down, you'll know you gave up. Not because you couldn't, but because you were afraid. You've got to rewire your mind. You've got to start seeing fear as a sign that you're on the right track. Because when you're afraid, that means you're stepping outside your comfort zone. That means you're about to grow. That means you're stretching into something bigger than yourself. Don't let fear make you step back. Let it push you forward. Let it be the alarm clock that says, go getting close to something important. And here's another thing. Courage is a choice. Every day you get to choose. Are you going to listen to the fear? Or anyway, are you going to let fear write your story? Or are you going to write it yourself? It doesn't matter if it's a small step or a giant leap. Courage is always a decision. You might have to choose it 100 times a day. That's okay. Just keep choosing it. I remember times in my life when I was scared to death. Times when I had nothing, no money, no home, no support. But I had a vision, and I had the courage to believe in that vision. Not because I was brave all the time, but because I refused to let fear define me. Every speech I gave, every student I mentored, every door I knocked on, I did it scared. And guess what? The more I acted in spite of fear, the smaller fear became. That's the secret. Fear feeds on inaction. But when you move, when you speak, when you show up, fear loses its grip. You can't conquer what you won't confront. Stop running from the thing that scares you. Face it. Look it in the eye and tell it, you don't control me anymore. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what other people think, confront it. Because once you do, you take back your power. And don't get it twisted. Courage doesn't guarantee success on the first try. You might still fall. You might still mess up. But every time you act with courage, you grow. You gain strength. You build resilience. You become a little less afraid the next time. That's how you level up. That's how you elevate your life. You were not created to play it safe. You were born with something inside you, a calling, a purpose, a mission, and that mission is going to require you to step through fear. You're going to have hard conversations. You're going to have to take risks. You're going to have to step into rooms where you feel like you don't belong, but go anyway. That's what courage is. I'm telling you right now. The people who win in life aren't always the most talented. They're not always the smartest. They're not always the most connected. But they are the ones who show up, the ones who bet on themselves, the ones who take that leap when everything in themselves stay back. Those are the ones who make it. So stop waiting for the fear to disappear. It may never leave. But courage will always be there if you choose it. And when you do, doors will open. Opportunities will find you. Confidence will grow. And eventually, fear will have to take a back seat because you'll be too busy living, too busy building, too busy becoming the person you were meant to be. So go, move scared, speak scared, try scared, but move. Because the power is not in being fearless. The power is in acting in spite of fear. That's courage. And that's where your life begins. Courage isn't just about big moments. It's not just about standing on a stage or running into danger. Courage lives in the day-to-day. It lives in the quiet, unseen moments when nobody's watching. Courage fuels the grind. It's what gets you up at 4 a.m. It's what keeps you working when everyone else has stopped. You think discipline and consistency just come out of nowhere? No, they are powered by something deeper. They are powered by courage. It takes courage to wake up every single day and show up for your goals when the results are nowhere to be found. You hear me? When the reward isn't instant, when the likes, the views, the promotions, the recognition, when none of that is happening, and yet you keep grinding, that's not motivation. That's not hype. That's courage. Because let's be real, everybody can be consistent when it's easy. Everybody can be disciplined when it's convenient. But what about when you're tired? What about when life hits you when you lose a loved one? When your bank account's in the red, when your friends stop calling and your dream feels like a joke? That's when discipline matters most. That's when consistency counts. And that's when courage has to kick in. See, courage is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. Courage is what separates the talkers from the doers. Because it takes a bold heart to stay locked in on your vision when distractions are all around you. It takes courage to say no to parties, no to sleep, no to comfort, because you know there's something greater waiting on the other side of your sacrifice. People say they want success, but they don't want the discipline. They don't want to hear that success is boring most days. It's repetition. It's waking up and doing the same thing over and over. When your emotions don't feel like it, when your body doesn't feel like it, when your mind is screaming at you to quit. And guess what? It takes courage to fight those voices. It takes courage to say, I'm going to stay focused no matter what. You don't become great because you felt like it. You become great because you had the courage to stay committed when feelings faded. Let me say that again. You don't build legacy based on feelings. You build it on decisions. And courage is what allows you to make the right decisions day after day after day. Most people don't fail because they don't have the talent. They fail because they don't have the courage to be consistent. They work hard for a week, maybe a month, and then stop when life gets uncomfortable. But champions show up broken. Champions show up with doubt. Champions show up when the fire inside is dim, but they still show up. That's what courage looks like. There were seasons in my life when I was doing the work and nothing was happening. Nobody was listening to me. Nobody was booking me to speak, but I kept recording those videos. I kept writing those lessons. I kept speaking like the whole world was listening, even when it wasn't. You know why? Because I had courage. I had the courage to believe that if I just stayed consistent, if I stayed disciplined, eventually the breakthrough would come. And let me tell you something. Discipline without courage doesn't last. You'll burn out because real discipline is built on a foundation of courage. Courage to delay gratification. Courage to say, I'm not going to chase what's easy. I'm going to chase what's worth it. Courage to say, even when this feels impossible, I'm not quitting on myself. Courage is the root, not the fruit. You can't have one without the other. If you want to master your craft, you need the courage to train when no one's watching. You need the courage to practice while other people sleep. You need the courage to be different, because consistent people always look different. They're not chasing trend. They're not running from discomfort. They're committed to the process. People look at Kobe, at Serena, at Jordan, and they think, oh, they're just gifted. No, they had courage. Courage to stay in the gym. Courage to train in silence. Courage to shut out the world and lock in on their dream every single day. When it rained, when they were injured, when their hearts were broken, they showed up. That's not just discipline. That's a deep inner fire. That's courage. And don't get me wrong, discipline doesn't mean perfection. You will fall. You will mess up. You'll miss a day. You'll have moments where you want to quit. But that's when courage gets loud. That's when courage says, hey, get up. You're not done yet. Courage reminds you of your why. Courage pushes you past the pain. Courage pulls you back into alignment when everything is trying to knock you off course. It takes courage to say, I'm not going to binge watch tonight. I've got work to do. It takes courage to stop hanging with the people who pull you off track. It takes courage to build routine, to track progress, to hold yourself accountable. Not just for a week, but for months, years, a lifetime. The dream is not built in one day. It's built in hundreds of days that feel the same. It's built in the repetition, the habits, the invisible victory. It's built in the decision to show up today with the same energy you had when you started. That's not easy. That's not automatic. That's courage in action. You want to change your life? You want to become who you were born to be? Then you better start practicing courage every single day. Courage to be disciplined when it's boring. Courage to be consistent when you're tired. Courage to stick to the plan when distractions are everywhere. Let the world sleep on you. Let them doubt you. Let them mock your discipline. But you stay the course. You keep showing up. Because the breakthrough is always given to the one who refuses to be in that kind of strength. That kind of fire comes from courage. So don't just pray for discipline. Pray for courage. Don't just ask for motivation. Ask for boldness. Ask for the heart to keep showing up when everything in you wants to tap out. Because if you can stay courageous, you will stay consistent. And if you stay consistent, there's nothing that can stop you. Courage fuels discipline. Courage powers consistency. And together they carry you to greatness. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. But too many people let failure stop them. Too many people let one loss define their whole future. You try something, it doesn't work. And instead of pushing forward, you fold. But hear me clearly. Courage is what allows you to look failure in the face and say, you may have knocked me down, but I'm still breathing. I'm still coming. I'm still built for this. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to shine, but nobody wants to fall. Nobody wants the pain that comes when you give everything you got and it still doesn't go your way. But I'm telling you right now, the real warriors, the ones who make it, they don't avoid failure. They see. They don't run from rejection. They stand in it. Why? Because they got courage. They've got the heart to keep swinging even when they're bruised, even when the crowd is laughing, even when the whole world is telling them, you're done. Failure hurts. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. It cuts deep. When you pour your soul into something, when you sacrifice sleep, when you give up comfort, when you lock in, when you grind, and you still come up short, it can feel like your whole world is collapsing. But courage, man, courage is that voice inside that says, get up. You've still got fight in you. This failure ain't your finish line. It's part of your foundation. See, courage doesn't erase the failure. It transforms it. You understand what I'm saying? Courage takes your mistakes, your falls, your losses, and it makes them fuel. Courage says, okay, we didn't get it this time, but we learned something. We grew. We're better because of it. That kind of my mindset, that's how legacies are built. You think the greats never failed? You think Oprah, Jordan, Elon, Beyonce, Kobe, you think they never hit walls? They failed more times than most people even tried, but they didn't let failure define them. They used it. They studied it. They got back up, adjusted, and went harder. Not because they were superhuman, but because they had the courage to believe that failure wasn't the end. It was just another step. And I know some of you are carrying failure like it's a chain around your neck. You're replaying the moment you got rejected. You're still bitter about the business that didn't work. You're still embarrassed about the test you failed, the opportunity you lost, the person who walked away. But let me tell you something powerful. Failure is only permanent if you accept it. It only owns you if you let it. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be courageous enough to try again. Courage is the bridge between failure and breakthrough. Courage is what keeps you moving when you don't feel like it. It's what lets you take another shot when the last one missed by a mile. It's what allows you to walk into the room again, even when the last time ended in disappointment. Courage is what whispers, "You've got more in you," when everything else is screaming. People don't fail because they fall. They fail because they stop getting up. That's the difference. That's what separates those who live with regret from those who live with results. Not talent, not luck, not timing, courage. The courage to face failure, learn from it, and step forward again. Sometimes failure is the teacher you didn't ask for but desperately need. Sometimes the no is really not yet. Sometimes the door that slammed in your face is pushing you toward the path you were really meant to walk. But you'll never know unless you keep moving. You'll never see the next opportunity if you let this one defeat you. And that's where courage comes in. Courage doesn't promise comfort. It doesn't promise you won't cry. It doesn't promise there won't be days you doubt yourself. But it does promise you won't be stuck. It promises growth. It promises movement. It promises transformation. And if you've got the courage to keep stepping forward through the failure, through the pain, through the silence, then I promise you, success will eventually have no choice but to meet you. Let me keep it real. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in my life came right after the biggest breakdowns. I failed in front of people. I've been told I wasn't good enough. I've had moments where I felt like quitting, like packing up everything and just walking away. But I did. You know why? Because I had a voice in my spirit saying you were built for more than this moment. Get back up. That voice, that was courage. It's easy to believe in yourself when things are working out. When the business is booming, when the applause is loud, when the spotlight's on you. But the real test of your heart is when it's quiet, when nobody's clapping, when the account was low, when the results are missing, when the messages stop coming. Do you still believe then? Can you still show up? Can you still keep moving forward? Not because of what you see, but because of what you believe. That's courage. I want you to understand something deep. Every failure has a purpose. Every mistake has a lesson. Every fall is a setup for something greater if you don't quit. So don't let the enemy use failure to paralyze you. Don't let shame convince you that you're done. You're not done. You're just being developed. You're just being refined. You're just being refined. You're just being made stronger through the pressure, through the pain, through the process. And I know it's hard. I know sometimes you don't even have the strength to move. That's okay. Crawl if you have to, cry if you must, but don't stop. Because if you stop now, you'll never know what you could have become. You'll never know the doors you were one step away from opening. You'll never know the people you were meant to impact. Your pain has purpose. Your failure has value, and your courage. That's the key to turning everything around. So today, don't pray for an easy life. Don't ask for a path without obstacles. Ask for courage. Ask for the boldness to face your failures and keep moving forward. Ask for the strength to believe in yourself again. Ask for the heart to keep stepping into the fire. Not because you're fearless, but because you're faithful. Because in the end, success is not just about talent or intelligence. It's about resilience. It's about endurance. It's about having the courage to say, this failure didn't break me, it built me. So keep going, keep rising, keep fighting. You're not done yet. There's something special about courage. I'm not talking about being loud or tough or pretending you got it all figured out. I'm talking about real courage. The kind of courage that shows up when everything's on the line, when fear is breathing down your neck, When the voices in your head are telling you, you can't. That kind of courage, raw, real, unfiltered, it does more than move your life forward. It lights a fire in the people watching you. It gives others permission to rise. See, what you need to understand is this. You're not just fighting for yourself. You're not just showing up for your dreams. You're not just enduring the pain, the struggle, the grind for your own reward. People are watching you. People are learning from you. And the way you walk through your storm could be the reason someone else decides not to quit. Courage is contagious. When you stand up and fight, even when your legs are shaking, even when your voice is trembling, even when your voice is trembling, even when desires are stacked against you, something powerful happens. You spark hope in others. You let them know if they can do it, maybe I can too. You shift atmospheres. You create movement. You don't even have to say a word. Your actions preach louder than any sermon. You got people in your circle, in your community, in your home, people who have lost belief, people who are sitting in silence, sitting in fear, waiting for something to change. They don't need more advice. They don't need another motivational quote. They need an example. They need to see someone who's been through it, the heartbreak, the failure, the setback, and kept walking. Someone who stared fear in the face and said, "You don't own me." Someone who chose courage over comfort, purpose over popularity, resilience over retreat. You could be that someone. You don't need a stage or a spotlight to inspire. You don't need followers or fame. All you need is the heart to rise, the strength to keep going, the boldness to say, "I don't have all the answers, but I refuse to stop." That kind of spirit, that's what breaks generational chains. That's what changes legacies. That's what shifts cultures. Because let me tell you something real. The people who inspire the most are not always the ones with the trophies or the titles. It's the single mom who gets up every morning and grinds for her kids. It's the man who battles addiction and still shows up for work. It's the student who keeps showing up after failing the same exam 3 times. It's the person who walks into the gym with tears in their eyes, but refuses to give up on their health. That's real courage. That's real courage. That's real inspiration. And when people see that, not perfection, not performance, but perseverance, they start to believe again. They start to think, maybe I've got some fight left in me too. Your courage speaks volumes to the silent battles others are facing. Your courage becomes a roadmap for those who feel lost. Your courage is the evidence that rising is possible, no matter how far someone's fallen. You don't know how powerful your story is because you're still living it. You're still in the fire. You're still in the middle of the mess. But somebody is watching your journey and saying, that's the kind of strength I want. That's the kind of spirit I need. They're watching how you respond to adversity. They're watching how you rise from setbacks. And they're learning how to rise too. There's a young person right now who's never seen someone bounce back from failure. There's someone sitting in depression who's never seen a light at the end of the tunnel. There's someone who's afraid to dream again because they think it's too late. But your courage, your resilience, it whispers hope into their heart. It reminds them that the fight isn't over. Sometimes your courage will be the only sermon someone ever hears. Not from a stage, not from a mic, but from your life, from the way you move, the way you keep believing when there's no evidence, the way you love when it's hard, the way you forgive when it hurts, the way you refuse to shrink, even when fear says you should. That's ministry, that's impact. And listen, you don't have to be fearless and be courageous. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving with the fear. It's doing it scared. It's standing up when everything inside of you says lie down. That's the courage that changes people. Not fake strength, not pretending everything's perfect, but authenticity, vulnerability, realness. That's what resonates. That's what breaks down walls. You gotta understand. Your courage might be the light someone else needs to find their way out of the dark. Your decision to keep going, even when it's hard, even when it's painful, even when nobody claps for you, is creating space for someone else to dream. It's giving someone else permission to say, if they can rise, maybe I can too. So don't underestimate your power. Don't downplay your journey. Don't hide your scar. You didn't go through all that just to keep it to yourself. You survived for a reason. You endured for a purpose. And now it's time to use that story, not just to elevate yourself, but to lift others. When you walk in courage, you carry people with you. You break barrier. You break barrier. You open doors. You make it easier for the next person to believe. The fire that almost destroyed you becomes the light that guides others. That's legacy. That's leadership. That's influence. And I know it's not easy. Courage costs control. It costs popularity. But it's worth it. Because when you choose courage, you choose impact. You choose purpose. You choose to be a vessel for change. There are people you haven't even met yet who will be better because you didn't quit. There are dreams that will be birthed because you kept moving. There are chains that will break because you kept fighting. So don't stop. Don't strain. Don't let fear win. You're not just rising for yourself. You're rising for your family. You're rising for your community. You're rising for the ones who haven't yet found their strength. Your courage is a seed for change, the ripple, the beginning of something bigger than you. So keep going, keep rising, keep believing, because your courage is not just your breakthrough, it's someone else's lifeline. Courage is not just about facing danger or standing tall when things get tough. Courage is about transformation. It's about what happens after you decide to rise. It's about who you become in the process of pushing past fear, doubt, and limitation. Courage is the key that opens doors most people will never see. Not because those doors are hidden, but because they are guarded by fear. And the people who lack the courage to push through that fear, they'll never walk through. But those who do, those who stare fear in the face and say, I'm walking through anyway, those are the people who experience real change, deep change, life-altering, soul-shifting purpose, unlocking change. That's what courage does. See, most people want transformation without tension. They want the results without the resistance. They want the breakthrough without the breakdown. But that's not how it works. Every door to a new level requires the courage to leave the old one behind. Every version of the future you want demands a barrier of who you used to be. Courage is what takes the first step into that unknown. It's what says, I know it's scary. I know I've never been here before, but I believe there's more for me on the other side. Once you walk through that door, you can't go back. That's what makes courage so powerful. It's the catalyst. It's the spark. It's the beginning of everything. Let me tell you something. Nothing changes until you do. Not your finance, not your relationships, not your habits, not your mindset. And courage is the force that says, I'm done living the same year over and over again. I'm done settling. I'm done shrinking. I'm done doubting myself. I'm ready to evolve. But don't get it twisted. Evolution isn't glamorous. Transformation doesn't always feel good. Courage doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you're willing to move forward even though you're terrified. It means you're willing to let go of what's comfortable, what's familiar, what's easy to discover who you really are. And that's what's waiting on the other side of courage. You, not the version of you that was shaped by trauma, by rejection, by failure, by fear. I'm talking about the real you. The one buried under all the labels, the one locked behind all the excuses, the one waiting to be unleashed. Courage is the hammer that breaks the chains. It's the sword that cuts through the lies. It's the light that exposes the greatness inside you. But here's the truth. Transformation requires pain. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. You can't become who you're meant to be and cling to who you used to be. You can't walk into the new and hold on to the old. At some point, you've got to choose. Courage helps you make that choice. Courage says, even if it hurts, even if I lose people, even if I fall on my face, I'm still going. Because you know deep down that what's ahead is greater than what's behind. You know that you were made for more. You know that comfort was killing your calling. Some of you have been stuck for too long because you've been waiting for the fear to leave. You've been waiting to feel ready. You've been waiting for a guarantee. But life doesn't work like that. Growth doesn't work like that. Transformation doesn't work like that. There is no perfect moment. There's no certainty. There's only one thing that will carry you forward when everything else says turn back. Courage. Courage is what gets you in the room where you don't feel qualified. Courage is what makes you speak when your voice shakes. Courage is what makes you dream again after disappointment. Courage is what makes you love again after heartbreak. Courage is what makes you believe again after failure. And every time you choose courage over fear, you get stronger, you grow, you become more of who you were meant to be. Every act of courage rewires your identity. It says that this is who I am now. This is what I stand for. This is what I won't tolerate anymore. You know what courage does? It raises your standards. It transforms your thinking. It opens your eyes. You start walking different, talking different, making decisions different. You stop settling for average. You stop compromising with fear. You stop negotiating with smallness. You stop apologizing for your greatness because courage gives you clarity. You see where you've been living below your potential. You see the lies you've been believing and you decide no more. But don't think transformation is a one-time event. It's a daily decision. Every day you're faced with fear. Every day you're tempted to shrink. Every day you're invited back into your old pattern. But every day you also have the opportunity to rise, to lean in, to say, I choose courage again. And the more you do, the more you change. The more you align with your purpose, the more you become unstoppable. And here's the crazy part. Once you start transforming, everything around you starts to change. Not because the world is different, but because you are. Your energy shifts, your standards shift, your decisions shift. The things that used to break you now build you. The things that used to scare you now stretch you. And the people around you, they start to see the shift too. You inspire them, you awaken something in them. They start asking questions. They start reflecting. Your transformation becomes a mirror that reveals their own potential. So if you're tired of being stuck, if you're tired of feeling like there's more in you that hasn't come out, if you're tired of watching other people grow while you stay the same, then I've got one word for you: courage. Courage. That's it. That's the key. That's the path. That's the decision, not talent, not luck, not opportunity, courage. Because once you choose it consistently, deliberately, daily, you change. Your whole life changes. The doors start opening. The path starts clearing. And the person you were created to be finally starts showing up. So don't wait for the fear to go away. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for the applause. Move now. Speak now. Build now. Believe now. Rise now. Because the you that's waiting on the other side of courage, they're ready. They're powerful. They're purposeful. They're transformational. And the world needs them. So choose courage and walk through the door. I need you to understand something. This moment right here, right now is sacred. It's not just another second ticking by on the clock. It's not just another day on the calendar. This moment is an invitation. This moment is a doorway. You've heard about courage. You've heard about what it can do, how it transforms, how it unlocks the real you. And now the question is simple. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to sit with it, admire it from a distance, nod your head, maybe even clap a little, and then go back to living the same life you said you were done with? Or are you going to take that fire you feel deep in your chest right now and use it? Because the clock won't wait. Fear won't wait. Fear won't wait. Regret won't wait. So why are you? I don't care where you're from. I don't care what your past looks like. I don't care how broken you feel, how tired you are, how many mistakes you've made, or how many people told you that you'd never be enough. Listen to me. Every champion was once broken. Every success story was once a mess. Every transformed life started with one single decision: to no longer be a prisoner of fear. It wasn't perfect timing. It wasn't the right connections. It wasn't luck. It was courage, plain and simple. They chose to move forward, trembling, scared, uncertain, but they moved anyway. That's what separated them from the rest. That's what turned pain into power, weakness into wisdom, breakdown into breakthrough. Some of you are living a life that's 10 sizes too small because you built it around your fear, not your faith. You've allowed other people's opinions to define your limits. You've let failure tell you what you're not instead of letting courage remind you what you still are. And deep down, you know it. You feel it. That's why your spirit is restless. That's why your heart beats faster when you hear the word purpose. That's why you cry when nobody's watching, because your soul is screaming for more. Your destiny is too big for your doubt. Your future is too loud for your fear, and your greatness is too heavy to keep carrying under the mask of mediocrity. But the truth is, no one can walk through that door for you. No one can choose courage for you. Not your mother, not your coach, not your pastor, not your mentor. This fight is personal. This decision is intimate. This moment is yours and yours alone. And it's not about one big moment that changes everything. No, it's about the daily choice. It's about when you wake up and decide today, I will not be a slave to my past. Today, I will not let fear drive this car. Today, I will not apologize for wanting more. Today, I choose courage. And every single time you choose it, you win. Even if you fall, even if you fail. Because courage isn't about the outcome. It's about the decision. It's about who you become every time you refuse to let fear have the final say. It's about building a track record with yourself where you can look in the mirror and say, I may not be there yet, but I'm not who I used to be. That's power. That's transformation. That's real growth. And nobody can take that from you. Do you want to know why most people never change? Because change costs. It costs comfort. It costs familiarity. It costs convenience. You have to bleed to grow. You have to break to build. And you have to bridge to rise. Most people aren't willing to do that. But you're not most people. You're here. You stay with me this long because something inside you knows there's more. Something inside you refuses to die with your dreams still buried inside. And that something is courage. It's been waiting, it's been whispering, and now it's time to listen. You are not too far gone. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too ash. You are not too small. You are chosen, you are called, you are capable, and you've got everything it takes to become everything you were meant to be. But you've got to stop running from the fire and start walking through it. You've got to stop avoiding the fight and start engaging in it. Because that's where the magic is. That's where the transformation happens. On the battlefield, in the fire, in the pressure, not in the comfort zone. You know what I've learned? The people who change the world are not the ones with the easiest path. They're the ones with the deepest courage. They're the ones who didn't let life make them bitter. They let it make them better. They're the ones who turned their scars into strength, their losses into lessons, and their fears into fuel. They're the ones who kept showing up when no one was watching, kept believing when nothing was working, kept grinding when everything said quit, because they understood something. Courage isn't a feeling. Courage is a commitment to grow even when it hurts. It's a commitment to keep showing up even when it's lonely. It's a commitment to believe in yourself when nobody else does. And it's a commitment to hold on to your vision when life tries to blind you. That's the kind of courage I'm calling out in you. Not the kind that shouts from the stage, the kind that stands in silence and still refuses to bow, the kind that doesn't need validation to keep going, the kind that says, I might not be there yet, but I'm coming, I'm climbing, I'm becoming. And if nobody told you today, let me be the one. I believe in you. I believe in your vision. I believe in your story. I believe that you got something the world needs. I believe that your best days are ahead, not behind. I believe that every trial, every valley was preparing you for the mountaintop. But you gotta believe it too, because if you don't, you'll talk yourself out of it. You'll sabotage your own success. You'll bury your own greatness. And the world will miss out on what only you could bring. So let today be the day you draw the line. Let today be the day you stop waiting for permission. Let today be the day you stop letting fear set the thermostat in your life. Let today be the day you decide. No more playing small. No more delaying purpose. No more excuses. No more pity parties. No more self-sabotage. Today we rise. Today we walk through the door. Today we pick up the courage, strap it to our chin, and we move. We transform. We unleash. Because courage changes everything. It changes how you see yourself. It changes what you expect from life. It changes what you demand from the world. And once you walk in it, there's no going back. You'll never be the same. You'll never want to be the same. You'll look back one day and realize that the moment you chose courage was the moment your life began to shift. The moment your soul woke up. The moment your legacy started writing itself. So go. Go with fire in your heart. Go with power in your steps. Go with truth on your tongue. Go with courage in your bones. The world is waiting. Your destiny is waiting. Your destiny is waiting. And everything you've been through has prepared you for this moment. Don't you dare let fear win. You were born for this.